Hello, everybody. Today I am on Restream, so bear with me as I figure out a few new things. One of the things I was trying to figure out right before we were live is how to take myself off between the intro overlay and the video. You could see me behind the scenes. And anyways, apparently you have to like stop the camera, then start, like take you out, then take you in. So I'm just learning new things. So bear with me as I kind of figure out everything. Please let me know. Hi, Giacomo. So good to see you. Thank you for being here. Please let me know where, if you're here with us live, where you're coming in from, what the weather's like. Just kind of let me know that you're here. And just so you know, as we are here I'm trying to go live every last Friday at 3. And yeah, me and James last time were joking. Final Friday at free, like a 3-year-old says 3. Final Friday at free. Tosh, so good to see you. We have lots to talk about. She helps me out, and we're trying out new tools, and so we have lots to talk about this one, Tosh. First, I want to acknowledge my voice is weird. We have been sick, so I apologize for that. But if you're here live, please let me know if you have any questions about these platforms. We're going to be talking about Streamyard, Restream, and Riverside. All of those tools can be used to go live here on LinkedIn, but there are pros and cons to each of them. I've gone through and kind of made my list of pros and cons and also pricing. So we're going to talk about that. But what I'm trying to do with this space is just every final Friday at 3, kind of open it up for people who I might not work with one-on-one, but have questions for me about live streaming tools. So please feel free to jump in with any questions. If there's anything that you want me to try on like my channel with my live stream, I'm so open to trying new things on this channel. I'm just trying to figure things out. Giacomo says he's in Milan for now. We're hoping anybody who wants to offer Giacomo a job in the United States, hit him up. I'm gunning for Tennessee. I'm hoping he comes to Tennessee, but I'm excited to hear about your updates, my friend. So, I'm keeping track of all things live streaming, from like the actual live stream spaces like YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, those kinds of things, and the tools. So first and foremost, I'm going to talk about YouTube. There was a cool update that just came through in YouTube that we can now respond to comments with voice messages, which I kind of think is a fun, personal way to kind of engage with your audience on YouTube. So basically, if somebody comments on your YouTube video, instead of typing out a message, you can now send them a voice note as a message back. So I'm excited about that one. I have a client who I think would love that one. And I'm hoping it will be a little bit more personalized on the YouTube space. I always am loving things where you can connect with your audience in a little more of a personal way. So that was a cool one. As far as YouTube's concerned, the other one is we can now comment, or we can turn on like who comments. So if you don't want somebody commenting who's not a subscriber, you can actually turn off that on your YouTube video specifically and say like you only want subscribers to comment, and they have to be a subscriber for an hour or a day before they comment. I think that's their way of like trying to control trolls and mean people on the internet, which I'm all about it. So yes, Giacomo, you are coming to Nashville. I'm saying it now. I'm speaking it into the universe now. Okay, so we're gonna start with StreamYard. So today, I'm going to apologize in advance if I get these names mixed up as I'm going through them, because every time I talk about them, I always accidentally slip. So I'll try to keep things clean and organized for y'all. So first of all, StreamYard. This is our price plans. So I'm just going to leave this up on the screen while I kind of explain, because if you're like me, price point is definitely one of the top pros or cons of streaming, right? That's kind of one of the things that I'm first comparing about the softwares. So really, I say you probably need the core plan at least, and that has gone up to $45 a month. It used to be 12, it used to be 25 last year. Now it is 45. This is kind of one of my big gripes about StreamYard and the reasons why I am looking for different tools, because I always want to make it a little bit more affordable for people who are just starting out streaming. So, a couple of updates from StreamYard. Right now, they have finally made the QR code customizable so that we don't have to use the branding on the like for the QR code. So I wish I was on StreamYard right now and I would kind of show you what I mean. But when they have QR codes, we probably have one here in Restream now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so something like this, instead of having their logo with it, it'll look more like this. I'm not even sure if that goes to my website. I'm not sure what that QR code goes to. But like here's okay, so in that corner to copy my systems, that one definitely goes to my website. And that was one of my big pros about Restream, but now StreamYard also has that. So that's very exciting. The other thing is I noticed an AI image pop up in one of the AI generated reels on StreamYard. So that's really cool just because now we can kind of have some B-roll. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't super love it, but it was there. So that's one update on StreamYard. Another update is we can change the size of the names. So like this, you can make it bigger, smaller, that kind of thing. And I do like that. I think that's cool. Let's see if we can do that here in Restream now that I'm saying all of that. I don't even think they have a theme area, but I don't think you can make it bigger or smaller. No, you can just change it like this. Which up until last month, you couldn't in StreamYard too. So that's a cool update in StreamYard. And then I will say one of the biggest pros that I'm still seeing in the StreamYard space is you can see people who are behind the scenes. So right now, if I had a producer with me, I wouldn't be able to see them in Restream. See, I knew this was going to get confusing with all the names. Restream, you cannot see people. StreamYard, you can. So that is a big pro for me because there's a lot of times that I am trying to like flag down the person who is hosting the show, because usually when you're the one hosting, you're not seeing or hearing things obviously as they come through. So having a producer on the back end, when I produce a show, I always have the show open on my laptop and on my phone, and I'm listening and I'm watching as if I am an audience member, so I can make sure that the audience is having a good experience. Whereas when I'm hosting the show, I'm hoping it's going well over there. And I am kind of just paying attention to the comments, which is fine. But as a producer, I like the option to be like, hey, your earphones aren't working, or your headphone or your microphones aren't working, or something like that. Let's see. Tosh said, would love to try the new poll feature on StreamYard. I didn't see that one. Could be another cool way to interact in real time with listeners. Okay, we're trying that next month then, Tosh. I'll put that on my list of things to try in real time next month on StreamYard. So those are all my updates on the StreamYard platform and why I think it's cool. I'm still Team StreamYard. Today we're trying out Restream. I will let you know if I'm swayed. I'm not gonna lie to you, they seem very similar. The entire way that the studios are set up, a lot of the features, they're always like neck and neck with like when they're adding a new feature, then shortly another like the other one will. So StreamYard and Restream are the ones that I really recommend for live streamers. Yes, Giacomo came on my show and he said he loved StreamYard. I love StreamYard because it's very easy, I feel like, to start out. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Intuitive for people who are first learning things, because going live is already kind of nerve-wracking enough that I like how simple and straightforward it is. So I'm glad to hear you loved it. I still love it. I'm still loving Streamyard. Restream is a close second. So now we're going to go into Restream and what I like about them, which is the platform we're on today. So first and foremost, I'm going to pop up a lower third that has the how you can see pricing. So this is their pricing website if you want to go and check it out, and it goes through all the features from the everything, which is a little overwhelming. So I've kind of just picked the ones that I like, and I'm sharing that with you here. The things that are important for me. So first of all, the free plan always has branding, both on Restream and Streamyard. I always say it's worth it to upgrade to not have their things and be able to have like more control over the way your show looks. For me, that's important. Another really cool pro on this is that they have analytics in like this software. So like after I'm done, I'm going to go and look at those and see if it pulls in all the analytics. A lot of streaming platforms have a hard time pulling in LinkedIn information. So I'm very curious to see if they have somehow conquered that. I think that would be really cool if they have. So I'm going to look at that after we're live, but analytics are in the software. The other thing is so on StreamYard, when you go live, you will have an option to create AI generated clips. And after every stream, super great, hit, generate, and they'll do that. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. But on Restream, you can actually upload a clip and then have it do it. So instead of having to go live or record in the platform, if you've done a recording somewhere else, you can still edit and Restream, which I think is cool. It would make sense if you're doing a lot of content because you could do it all in Restream. Another thing that I thought was really neat was that you can, let's see if I can switch this. Nice. See, I'm just trying things out. Oh, made me go away. Okay. So the other thing that I loved is that there is a draft section for your live streams. So when you go to schedule, instead of like having to have all your thoughts together in one time, and what I do is I draft it in Notion and then I copy and paste it into StreamYard, hit schedule. Restream gives you the option of like creating a draft and just keeping it there, which I think is good. Again, like I said, if I was a content creator who primarily used live streaming as my form of content, which I do, but Restream has a lot of pros in that for that reason. So let's see what Giacomo said. If you're starting, the basic version can be enough, then your show followed. Yes, and you kind of need it to be a little bit more professional for sure. And I just always like it to look cute. Stream cute. That's from Jeff. Jeff came up with that logo and that slogan, and I like it. Stream cute. I like to stream cute. So you have that draft section. A couple of cons on my pros and cons, we're into cons on Restream, is that you do have to pay for the short AI generated clips. So StreamYard, it comes with the plan. So like the $49. So StreamYard has a $45. Restream has a $49. In the StreamYard $45, you get 6 sets of AI clips. So say I go live 6 times in a month, I can get 6 sets of AI clips, which I can't remember. Tosh, if you're still here and you remember, let me know. But I want to say it's a good, like there's quite a few clips, maybe 20, something like that. So that's cool. But Restream, you would have to pay to get those clips. Part of me is like, well, sometimes I want clips and sometimes I don't want clips. Like for a stream like this is very much like technical. I don't know if I would want any clips made from it. Whereas like if I was somebody who was having a lot of like interviews, clips would be great. So the other thing is they just added Restream, just added the option to live clip something, meaning while you are currently live, you can like post a clip or you can get like a live clip while you're still here. I haven't tried that yet. If anybody's interested, maybe I'll try it next time I try Restream, because I have to pay for the add-on for that, which is fine. I would be willing to do that for like a experiment. But I'm wondering how that's gonna work. Because I'm somebody who likes to watch and rewatch something to make sure I like it before I post it, which is why live streaming has helped me kind of get out of my head. But if I'm posting like a standalone clip, I worry that like I might not like it. Okay, so Giacomo says, what's the useful part of having these AI clips? So I totally get why you're saying that. Like, why would that even be useful? Because so like when you see, I'm trying to think of who like a famous podcaster is that just clips it down to be like a 1 minute clip. So we'll just use Kim, for example. Like Kim and India last week had a lot of really good sound bites. And if they had a minute that was really, really powerful, makes sense, standalone as its own clip, you could hopefully AI would recognize that and clip it. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So it just kind of helps with the video editing process is what it is that it kind of gives you a place to start with video editing of a long form content. The other thing I want to say about both StreamYard and Restream, you have to have the business, or I can't remember. Let's go back and see what the StreamYard one was called. Core. So StreamYard's called Core, and the Restream one is called Professional. But you have to have those like $45, $49 ones in order to have multiple seats on the account. Meaning having a producer, having some admin. For everybody that I help with like streaming, it has to be those plans in order to have somebody be able to come in and set up the studio and sign in from their own computer, things like that. So on this Restream one, co-producers, it has to be the $49 a month one. The other thing I want to point out as a con is Restream on the free plan, you can't record. So record only. So if you come into Restream and you're just going to use the free plan, you have to just go live. Whereas in StreamYard, the free plan, you can like just record a video. So that's one con on the Restream world thing. Okay, so we've got StreamYard, we've got Restream, and now we're going to go to Riverside. I feel like they just all kind of sound very, very similar. So Riverside. This one is fantastic for podcasters. Riverside started out as a podcasting tool, and it still holds true to me that it is a podcasting tool. It is not a live streaming tool. It is first and foremost a podcast tool. So apart from those clips, sorry, I just saw your comment, Giacomo. I know I'm a little behind. Apart from these clips, how can AI be useful during live streams? Okay, so I want to talk about AI for a second. This is perfect with Riverside. So Riverside has what is called a co-creator, which is kind of fun, kind of cool, like the name. And it basically is it can help you do thumbnails. It can help you do blog posts. It can help you do a post like for Instagram or a post for LinkedIn, all of that like based off of the video. So say I go live right now with this and I decide I want to edit it and I want to use AI. I am using Riverside every time because of co-creator that's in there. Because I would upload this into co-creator, right, into Riverside, and using co-creator, I'd say, can you help me make me a thumbnail, or can you help me make a blog post for this? And actually it has like content already auto generated for each thing. My throat is just like it's so sad. My little baby lost his voice, and if you've never heard a 4-month-old without a voice, it's the saddest thing. Like I couldn't hear him cry. It was horrible. Yes, Tosh, we are big fans of co-creator. It's made a huge difference in our business. It's made a huge difference in content. So I'm very excited about it. And this is why I will not get rid of Riverside. Because from Riverside, I think you and I both, Natasha, can agree, it's never perfect. And no AI is. but I feel like Riverside requires a little bit more help than most of the other AIs as far as the writing portion of it. But the video editing portion of it is pretty good. It has an option to remove ums, ands, like filler words. It has an option to reduce pauses, and it does a good job of those. So I've tried a couple different video editors, but Riverside for sure is the winner as far as it removes those in a way that makes you still sound human and normal, versus like other ones, like they're just so removing all the pauses that it just doesn't even, you sound like a robot. So it does a really good job with that. Let me think what other AI features. It has like Find Fluff, which is one of my favorite features, where I ramble. I know I ramble. And for a live stream, that's usually okay because we're kind of in here having a conversation. But for short form content that will be report purposed, Riverside does a great job helping you kind of remove the rambliness. It's like it highlights it and it says, "Are you sure you want this?" And you say, "Oh yeah, I was kind of rambling." So I love that feature. I'm trying to think what else we've used on the co-creator side. But I did just notice signing into Riverside today. It's now like at the top of the thing. So I think they're putting a lot of resources into that AI, which has been really good. So we're gonna go back to the pricing for Riverside. And so in order to go live on Riverside, because you can go live. I went live, was it live? I think it was last month. I went live using Riverside to LinkedIn and to other places. You have to have the $39 a month, $39 a month plan in order to go live. And the big bummer about this, if Riverside, if you're out there and you're listening, if Riverside fixed this one thing, I would completely change my business, is if I could see comments from LinkedIn. So we've tried it several times. In the first couple of times we thought, oh, maybe this is just a glitch. It was not a glitch. I finally got to the bottom of it, spoke to somebody on the Riverside team, that they do not support the chat from LinkedIn, which for me and my business, I'm primarily streaming to LinkedIn. So for me to not have that is kind of just like, Riverside is not for me for live streaming. I'm still using it as a video editing tool, but not for a live streaming tool. So I will still share some of my favorite features on Riverside, but I think that if your main goal is live streaming, Streamyard or Restream are your tools. If your main goal is being a podcast and it's cool that you can stream live, then Riverside's great for that. And how I was doing the workaround I was doing is I literally just had LinkedIn up on my phone and I was reading it and answering, and it worked. It worked fine. So if I was somebody that had a big podcast, and or I wanted to have a big podcast and I wanted it to be like Apple, Spotify, like that kind of podcast, Riverside would be probably where I would start, because the editing's super intuitive and easy. It offers you a website for your podcast. So not only can you connect, I'm going to butcher this, I think it's RTMP. It's an RTMP that like connects it from your recording to all of the places, Spotify, Apple, all those places. You can host the podcast in Riverside, which is big because you can't do that in Restream or Streamyard because those are more live streaming tools. But Riverside, you can actually host and send it out to Spotify and Apple. You can also have its own website. So you can create a website for your podcast using Riverside. Super cool. And it would help with those show notes with that co-creator. So I think that Riverside, great tool for podcasters, tool for live streamers. So how I, Shelby, am using the tools, and this is obviously what I am doing all of the time, so it doesn't make sense for somebody who's just trying to be, a quick content creation, which is what I always say, like that's the goal. For my job is to help somebody who is overwhelmed by the idea of content creation, can't sit down and record a million short form videos and just wants to have one fun conversation a month, and then we repurpose it. How I am using these tools is Streamyard is my live streaming, and then Riverside is my editing. And right now I'm also paying for Restream because I think it's a great option, and a great alternative to Streamyard. So I have those two that are kind of like Streamyard, Restream, kind of in they're racing each other, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, Restream's getting ahead a little bit. And then Riverside is still gonna be my video editing tool for sure. So, and yes, like Natasha, like you're saying, if they would fix the ability to see LinkedIn comments and see the, oh yeah, that's another one, is seeing the producer in the background, because you still can't see that on Riverside. That's another, I'm glad you brought that up. You cannot see your producer same way in Restream. You cannot see the producer. So anywho, that's my take on the three softwares. If you're watching this as a replay and you have other questions, please reach out to me. I have spent hours and hours in all three of these tools, and truthfully, there's good and bad about every one of them. There's not one that I would say never use and one that I would say always use. Like, all three of these tools have been super solid, and they're great for different reasons. So please let me know if there's any questions, or if maybe there's something that you, for example, like I try to get in Restream every 3 months, and there's always updates. So if you have a question of like, have they finally done QR codes, or have they finally done something like that, please let me know, and I will track down the answer if I don't know it already. So thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today and being here. It's so good to see you in the comments. And again, if you watch this after I am live, let me know. I still want to hear from you, and I will still talk back to you. Bonus points if anybody wants to leave a comment on my YouTube. I will try that audio message. So all right. So good seeing y'all. Have a wonderful May, and I will see you at the end of May.